Yeah, so Flo here has started a squad of people who are now going to Orange Theory, and
That's the bike thing, right?
No. Everybody thinks it's cycling, and there actually is only cycling if you're injured.
I'm the asshole.
So no, you're not. But I just think it's funny that everybody thinks it's cycling. So it's treadmill, rower, and then a floor block that includes like TRX, Bosu balls, weights, etc. Right?
And then bonk into a window.
Yes, and
That's
then
right.
sometimes you walk into a window, right? And
Yeah.
you bust your lip. Yeah, that absolutely happens.
Well, my kiddo thought it had something to do with food. She was like, "Does it have something to do with food?" And I was like,
Julius, apparently, some people get it mixed up with that, and they think it's going to get smoothly.
I was like, "Well, no, we're not doing that." I was like, "But if we'll make you,"
I would much rather have a smoothie than exercise.
Yeah.
This is true.
We're taking you off a little bit. Yeah.
It just, that's what happens. You just go with the flow.
I just want to say before Kula tells the story, like I joined at Midtown, and I have now worked out in Midtown. I've worked out at one of the ones in Natomas. I've done San Francisco. I have done Monroeville, Pennsylvania, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I will say that shout out to Monroeville because they are the friendliest studio and they have a lot of fun. They take lots of pictures and they really like to celebrate. But I have had really good experiences at all of the studios, but I know from reading the Orange Theory Reddit that experiences like Kula's do happen because the studios, while all under an umbrella, are independently managed and some of them are assholes.
Yeah, well, this is a new, first of all, it's a Carmichael one. So let me just shout it out. Just open. They're like trying to get members to come in, right? Join. I do the premier membership, right? That's the unlimited. I also signed up my fiance. So I'm like, there's two of us. We're giving you our money, right? Okay. They send a policy. I read it. It says if you are more than 5 minutes late, we're not going to hold your spot for you, right? Okay, fine. So I'm thinking, okay, I show up today, class was 3:45, I get there at 3:50. She proceeds to tell me that actually I am 5 minutes and 20 seconds over time. And so she's not even gonna allow me in the class at all. And I was like, what? Because I've been there before where they've actually started class like maybe 30 seconds earlier. And so I'm like, you're holding me to different standards than you even like hold the coaches to who start the class. Anyways, so she just was like, nope, I'm sorry. Like those are the rules. Can't let you in. So I was like, what? I busted my butt for nothing, right? To get here. Like I'm swerving all over the place, Anyway, so then I call afterwards on my way home and I say, I want to cancel my membership. And she's like, is this Kula? And I was like, yeah. She goes, is it because I didn't let you in? And I said, yeah. She goes, well, I know our policy could have been clearer because we didn't say that, even if you were like 2 seconds over 5 minutes, we wouldn't let you in. I said, if I would have shown up, if it would have been 5:51, then fine, you have grounds to stand on, but it was still 5:50. And I don't know when you started, but anyway, so I was like, well, I'm just going to cancel my membership. And then she's just like, okay, well, those are the rules and I can send you your paperwork. And I said, okay, you can send me and my fiance's paperwork. And now you just lost 2 premier membership at your new club that isn't even full all the time anyway. So that was the other part. And the other thing I don't understand is, what is the 5 minutes? Like, how is that hurting other people? Like, I don't understand. She didn't explain that to me either, right? And she promptly sent me the cancellation document. So I was like, okay, you really don't care. She literally sent it and I was like, okay, boo. Wow. You don't want my money? You don't want my customer service? That's fine. I can go somewhere else. I can do something else. Because that's one thing I do not do well with, bad customer service. I'm giving you money. Like,
it makes no sense, especially because a certain former city council member also works out at Orange Theory and never completes a full class. So if the issue were like, oh, we don't want people moving in and out of the class, well, people leave early all the time. So how is that any different? How is it any less distracting than people showing up a few minutes late?
Right.
Does this name rhyme with Heave Stanson?
Frankson. Anyway, so yeah, don't go to Orange Theory Carmichael and tell Morgan, I wrote a letter about you to corporate and to your actual club because I'm not cool with that.
That's
Okay,
seriously not cool.
if we're celebrating our airing of grievances, I've got something to say as well.
Go for it.
Do you know what's Capital Fitness, the one or not? Yeah, the what was the
club.
one that
Capital
was-
Athletic Club,
the
or
fancy
something
place?
like that.
No, not the fancy place. I used to like
Okay.
that place actually.
Okay.
Fancy Dave.
The one that's CalFit that used to be on K Street up there,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. California Family Fitness.
and it's been shuttered for like a year.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only location I ever worked out at.
Mm-hmm.
And during the worst of the surges of COVID, they started charging me in like January of this year.
Ridiculous.
And I was
get
like,
their money.
Ridiculous.
You're like, so you want me to come and get sick? Like,
yeah.
what?
So
Okay.
I left there. I haven't joined anything since. I'm turning into just a flimsy little Gumby now. But like we're running out of
Nice.
options in this region.
I'm gonna find something else. It's like on a principle basis at this point. I'm just like, you were rude and you just did not give two craps about me and my coins. So 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Sorry.
And I mean, like, who does that? Like, sure it's your policy, but like, who actually holds you? Who doesn't just say to you, like, hey,
Right.
you know, our late policy is 5 minutes. You're cutting it pretty close. Like,
Mhm.
be
Especially at a
mindful,
new
you know what I
new
mean?
club. They just opened. They literally just opened in September. So I just started going. So that's again why I'm like, really, dude?
I have
Kula,
never had that happen. And I don't know that I've been more than 5 minutes late, but what I'm saying is, like, I know people have showed up later than that and been let into class because nobody does this. Like, it's not like the people are coming every day super late, right? So like,
okay.
you
So I think
ran into traffic, something happened. Like,
I think we've identified a gap, sort of a vortex there's a need right here in the workout realm. I don't know what Orange Theory is. I don't know what that stands for, but
It's
like,
smoothies.
so why don't we start up Pineapple Theory or like Guava Theory?
it's not actually about the fruit, but yeah. It's about they assign colors to the heart rate zones, and so the idea is that you want to spend 12 to 20 minutes in the orange zone of your heart rate, which is 84% to 91% of your max heart rate.
This sounds like it's basically applying Bush era terror alerts.
Yes, basically,
To your
because
heart rate.
red is 92 to 100.
Direct
And then
threat.
green is like 83
Terror
to
threat.
70 something. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So don't go to Orange Theory.
Well, I guess on that note, let's start the show.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Voices, the things they said. Voices, some from those dead. All the voices heard. Voices, things we say. Voices, they're in your head. All the voices heard.
Why, hello, everyone. You have Kempa.
And Flo.
And Kula.
And Andy.
Yay!
Yes. Two special guests today, filling in for our two hosts that I don't even care they're gone. We have
I
Kula
care.
and Andy.
I miss you, Shannon. I miss you, Skylar.
I got to meet Shannon for the first time in person a
Really?
few weeks ago.
Aw.
She's bae and she made me food and I love her.
Oh,
I love it.
I heard about this. And that's very, I feel like machinations are happening in our region in a very good way. Anyway, Kula and Andy, I should probably say who you are. Kula Koenig, friend of the show, you've been on before. You are the founder of Social Justice Politicorps. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
And Andy Bianchi, program manager of Social Justice Politicorps. You are making things run. You are keeping things moving there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited.
We are excited too. So effectively, yeah, I mean, we're basically most of this episode, we want to discuss Social Justice Politicorps, what it's about, what you're doing with the report card, and a couple other things, because Kula, I've worked a little bit with you on a couple other things, and you're just one of the most impressive people I know, and like when you want something done, it just starts happening. So that's very fun.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Dave. Thank you, Dave. Well, I'm just super excited that Andi is our first full-time staff member. We started about a little over a year ago, and got a full-time staff member, and so we can actually get things done. So shout out to Andi for that.
Incredibly exciting.
Stop.
Well, why don't we start? I'm sure a number of our listeners and viewers might not have caught the initial episode that you were on. Kula, we've blown up. We're a big deal now. So
okay, we got more followers.
So we're gonna allow you to reintroduce yourself. So what is Social Justice Politicorps? When did you start? And what is the why of it? And where are you today?
Sure, and you can feel free to jump in whenever. But so started SJPC, as we call it, in June of 2020, which seems like a long time ago. But the idea behind it is that we needed more eyes on local government meetings, because they were just making really important decisions and people would get burnt out. So it was like, what if we had a core? So that's kind of where the name came from, Social Justice Politicorps. Think about the Peace Corps. So a group of folks who were keeping an eye on this, but then it also had to be grounded in something. So for me, it needed to be grounded in social justice. And so we took a lot of time to figure out what that means, right? And our hashtag we have two hashtags that kind of share our story, is Many Hands Light Work, WERK, and then crowdsourcing politics, right? And the idea is that if we can, those who are social justice minded can have an eye on what's going on locally in Sacramento County in terms of politics, we can get to a point where all political decisions are made through a social justice lens. And so, we do that in a couple of ways. So we put out a bi-monthly report that kind of summarizes what's happening in local government meetings. And we encourage folks to sign up and attend a meeting and let us know what happened, right? Because again, crowdsourcing, right? We're all doing this together. And so that's really the idea of it.
The write-ups are so fun too. There's a real style to them, sort of a the voice is very strong in every write-up that a member of Politicorps writes. Can you tell, this is not something that's going to be like a drably written Sac B article. Where did this idea come from to be so just like, hey, here's who we are, and now we're telling you about what happened and why it's bull.
Yeah, do you want to take it?
Yeah, so as far as I understand it, it was the two big words that come up for me when I think about SJPC are accountability and transparency. So the whole idea is one, we're holding people accountable for their actions and we're pointing out what they're doing wrong, and sometimes what they do right, but mostly what they do wrong. And but the big thing is it's supposed to be easy for people to engage with, because I never engaged with local politics before until I moved to Sacramento. This is my I'm very new at it. I've only been here a year. And I don't know how the stuff works. So I needed to learn. And I think that's the idea behind it, is we say write it like you're talking to a friend, so that it's fun and engaging and anyone can understand it. It's not creating, I feel like local government is all about, and government in general is all about creating these barriers to access so people can't actually influence anything that's going on. So yeah, so that's how I would answer that.
Yeah, I remember first when Andi even started, he was like, well, how do we, what's the tone? And it was exactly that, just like you're writing to your homie, right? Like you're explaining it, right? Make it accessible. So
I did not know how to do that either. My first one was an academic paper, and we were like, no, try again.
It's one of the things that I really love about SJPC and the way that things are presented to people, because at the end of the day, that's really what's happening. Like, there's this way that we make things so stodgy, and then they get divorced from the fact that these are real people making real decisions that affect our lives. And so there's even a way, like, I look at city council meeting agendas and like the way that the minutes are written, and it seems very like surgical, right? Like, this was proposed, and it's like, no, there are actually 12 people who are going to die because this policy was put out, right? Or like, they're like, it just doesn't capture what really happened. And so there is that, like, having a conversation with a friend over drinks, like, how would you describe to them what happened, right? Because you're not going to say, well, today the electorate decided to pass a resolution to, you're going to be like, yesterday they decided they were going to screw everybody over and make it so none of us could afford to live here, right? Like, that's the way you would talk about it. So that's the way we should talk about it. I really love that. And I'm so glad that it exists as a platform to be able to share that message.
Yeah, one of my favorites and one of the write-ups someone wrote, they're talking about like cannabis equity and like, what's, going on in the city, giving some loans to a few folks. And then the analogy was, it's like somebody stole your Mercedes, but then they like, here, you can have a bike, but it has a flat tire, but here you go. Like, it was just, I was like, you know what? Yeah. I dig it. So that's just how we roll.
It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of it has blossomed, I think, over the last year, and it's been really exciting to see the direction it's gone. I know there have been some write-ups that have angered certain political bodies, and some things that, in my opinion, have probably affected some change, and at the very, very least, change the conversation. And I think there's something really powerful about that. Can you speak to that a little bit? That it appears that the dream, the vision is beginning to sort of be realized.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest thing I point to is when we talk about county government and how they're spending their money and the budget process, and thinking about even with the coronavirus relief fund that happened, and how they were planning to spend those funds on the police, and then just really getting people to say, hey, we don't want this, and then having a sign-on letter with everybody signing on with their district, sending that out to our SJPC folks, and just kind of keeping folks like, hey, do you know this is happening? And then we've been able to text people now, and so we try to do it judiciously so we're not spamming folks. But one of the other important things is public comment. These meetings are so long, and so at least when public comment is starting, we can say, hey, public comment is starting right now, so you can tune in right now and make your public comment, right? So it's like trying to get things like that going, so people, everyday people who don't have the time to sit and wait for 5 hours, can actually, call in when the time is right, instead of having to sit down and wait. So again, it just makes them be more engaged, and so then folks know that they're getting that they're being watched.
I got my first text last week. I was super excited. I was like, oh snap, SJPC, look at y'all. I loved it. So I was like, we're getting fancy here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
I was really proud of myself for figuring out the website where you send the text out, because it's very confusing to me. I did it.
Yes, you did. Yeah, we've been playing around with different software and different things like that. And so, but it's exactly that, just making it easy for people to be involved, right. And to be civically engaged. And again, it's the target audience of those who care about social justice and redistributing wealth, and really care about making things more equitable in Sacramento County. So that's the audience. And we're also really explicit about that too, right?
Yeah. And circling back, you speak in human terms, and I think that is just one huge barrier that we tend to forget, that you obliterate, which is really exciting. When we say, and it's possible that you might have no idea, or it oscillates from different times of the political cycle, but you say many hands, light work. How many hands?
So right now, our list, you mean like what we have on our listserv?
Yeah, sure.
I think we have about like maybe what is it like 400 now that we have?
It's around, yeah, it's like high 300s, 400.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So we're pretty, you know, and that's kind of that the many hands, right? Like there's different levels. So I'm always clear about the different levels that people can stay engaged. Some folks maybe just want to read the bi-monthly newsletter that we put out so that they can stay engaged. Already that's a level right there of knowledge that you didn't have, right? Some folks are like, okay, well, I can actually send in a write-up of a meeting that I went to, right? And then some folks are like, okay, I actually want to like get involved and even like volunteer and do stuff and join the SJPC Council, which we meet every other Sunday to like kind of strategize about what's happening in local, you know, politics in Sacramento as it pertains to social justice and how we want to communicate that to people. So again, it's all about, it's like, you know, meeting people where they are, right? Getting in where you fit in. And so we really try to make sure that if you just want to read the newsletter, you get that too. If you want to send in a report, you get that too. If you want to join the council, or if you just want to volunteer, you can do that too. So there's all these different ways, you know, to be involved because it's important. And everybody can, and it ebbs and flows. There's times where I know as an organizer can really be ready to lean in, and there's times where I just need to step back a little bit, right? And then hopefully other people who are part of the crew will be able to take up that mantle too. So
I often wait till the end of interviews to ask this question, but this is just a perfect time to ask you to plug it. Where can people find SJPC and you know, how can they get plugged into getting involved?
Yeah, if you go to socialjusticesac.org, just socialjusticesac.org, you can go there and there's a get involved tab and there's all the different ways. It literally has it actually, it says you can get involved by signing up to attend a government meeting. We also have a calendar on our website of government meetings. And then you can like click on it and say, hey, I'm going to attend this meeting. And then, you know, we'll send you a reminder when the meeting is happening. Remember you said you were going to attend this meeting, and we'll let you know what agenda items that you might want to look at for that meeting, right? And so that's another way to get involved. As well, or just joining the core, right? So you can get the action alerts and you can call in and make a public comment and things like that. So that's definitely a way to get involved. We're also obviously on the socials, you know, Facebook, Instagram, I think Twitter. But the website is socialjusticesac.org. That has a lot of stuff on there. It has all of our blog entries. And so our newsletter, we turn them into blog entries, and they're categorized by various social justice issues. So you can also, if you just want to read up on it, so let's say you're new to Sacramento and you want to learn like what's been going on for the past year or so, you know, around the, you know, carceral system and such, right? You can filter that and read some of the blogs and get caught up, because that's also it's a running record. And that's what we also wanted it to be, a running record of what's happening in local politics, not just an election year when we have to go back and remember, oh, what did this person do? Do we like them? You know, we have a record to go back to, and that's what this is about.
Yeah, it's super cool too, because when you sign up through the website, you can also choose like if you're interested in like board meetings, city council meetings, or like issue areas, and then we can target outreach specifically to people who are like interested in criminal justice reform. So like if you sign up, then you can get like specialized outreach for that. And one other thing, just going back really quick, I wanted to say that I think SJPC is doing really well at is like getting people to make public comment, like even if it's just from members of the council. Like we have members of the council consistently making public comment, and I think that's really cool. I think it's like empowering, and I think SJPC has a hand in that.
Incredibly important. You know, you're helping people learn how to be the squeaky wheel, and folks that would not necessarily be engaged. And I don't know, maybe I keep saying this over and over again, but it's just so cool.
And demystifying it though, because it can be scary, right? Because I know that there's folks who be like, oh, I've never called into a government meeting before. Like, oh my gosh, what do I say? And I'm like, these folks just call, like, you know, but obviously we'll be like, okay, fine, you can jot down some notes, here's some talking points. But, you know, so we definitely, you know, understand that, but it's to demystify that process at the same time also, right?
And demystifying and empowering them. And I think that's probably the coolest thing actually with our show, probably the coolest thing I ever heard was just I met somebody at Bottle and Barlow, and they said, I called in public comment for the first time after one of your episodes. And so like with you doing that work, with you activating folks, like here's the number to call, here's how to do it, and you're simplifying the process. They don't have to navigate the website, they don't have to do all that other stuff. Right. It's just incredibly cool.
Yeah. The dream is to have this core be like so big, right? And we have a core for like the people will have special meetings that they want to, really be assigned to or sign up for, and then go further down into specific topics that they may really want to get involved in, right? And then the dream is that, and we'll get to the report card, is that elected officials are going to be like, oh crap, the SJPC report card is coming up. Like, I wonder how I did on that. You know what I mean? And so that's the dream, is to build an infrastructure for social justice in Sacramento County.
Why don't we talk about this report card?
Yeah.
I know that Kula and Flo over the years have been rabble rousers in a lot of ways. Didn't you two do
I don't know her. What are you talking about?
I don't know her either. Who she be?
Never seen her before in my life.
Pretty sure that after the last Sister Circle political thing came out, the recommendations, Flo said, if you see any like typos or anything incorrect on it, just reach out to Kula Koenig.
You're such a Oh, there was
I could be wrong.
There was a time where people would mix us up
show.
anyways. So there was a time when we get mixed up. So
all the time.
Especially when we both worked at the Capitol. Yeah, that was fun.
So yeah, tell me, this just feels like a new iteration of, rousing rebels, and again, back to what Social Justice Politicorps is all about, is empowering the community. And so this is asking community members to give their opinion, to say what they think. So talk us through what this is and how folks can get involved and when.
Yeah. Andy, you want to
Sure.
start?
Yeah. So Kula kind of summarized it a little bit already in terms of like why we want to do it, because we want, in my mind too, I'm like, I want everyone in Sac County to be like, there's an election, like what did SJPC say? Or like they have an issue, or they saw something at a meeting. Like I just really imagine us being this really strong like hub for political information. So the report card for sure is like hopefully going to influence people's decisions in elections. And what we did was we had a very complicated survey initially, and we like kind of broke it down into like an easier one for people to take. But basically, we asked for a grade for this county, the city, the board of supervisors, the city council, and then the individual members of each body. The only grades that are mandatory are the general grades, because we like recognize that not everybody knows their city council members and stuff like that. And then you can also grade on issue area, like grade the board of supervisors on issue areas, and there are same issue areas that are listed on our website. So it's like our focus areas. And it takes like 5 to 10 minutes, probably, maybe longer if you like really are familiar with stuff and you want to grade everyone. But yeah, so the idea is that we get community input. So it's not just members of the council being like, well, we think this about like Katie or whatever. It's like community, but also specifically target impacted communities, so that we're getting the voices of people who don't always have a voice. That's a big part of it, is we don't necessarily want to reach everyone. We want to reach like the people who really, really need to be heard. And so that, I think, is a general overview of it. Is that?
Yeah. And I think so, there's a thing where, people kind of only pay attention during election years, right? And it's like, what if we were doing this? Because it's all built up, right? It's the infrastructure. So it's like, what if we did a report card every year? You're getting graded, right, on how you've done as a county and as a city, and then how you've done on issues like education, on issues like housing, to really I always remember there was a children's report card that used to come out. I think it still does come out. But that was like a big thing. They had like a big unveiling of it, and all the elected officials wanted to see what the children's report card was. And so I was like, well, let's just do a social justice report card. And then, and the way the report card is, we really also wanted to ground people in what social justice is. So if you look at the report card, it actually like it'll define, it said, for the purposes of this survey, right, we define social justice as a redistribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges, right, so that those who haven't historically benefited can do well. And we're like, basically, is Sacramento County making political decisions that help people who are most vulnerable so that they can do well? Is that a priority, or is that an afterthought? So again, that's that kind of putting it into, you're talking to your friend, right? Like, are they making decisions so that those who are most vulnerable do well? What do you think? If you don't think so, then grade them accordingly, right? And so that's the arc of the question. And so we really try to make it pretty easy in that sense. And then also just making it where you can just answer a few questions, just 3 questions if you want, or you can go into more detail. We also have a grading rubric, again, trying to meet people on different levels. So there's some people who want all, like, if it's Flo, she want to know, what does an A mean? What's the grading rubric? What's going on? So all of that is there if you want it. But if you are like my sister, who's just like, yo, I think I talked about it last time I was on here too. Sorry, sis.
Talking trash.
She'll be like, you just put me like, oh, she too busy. She just like, listen, so the question of like, do you feel that they're making decisions that are helping those who are most vulnerable? Like, to me, that is just like, that's a more like general type versus like, if you don't have to feel like you know everything. I reached out, trying to get those folks who are in a housing community in Sacramento to take the survey. And the program person I was talking to, she said, hey, I think they might be a little nervous because they don't maybe not know all of their elected officials. And I said, sure, that's fine. The top question is, do you feel that those who are in power are making decisions that make your life better? Like, that's the arc of it, right? So it doesn't have to be like, I don't have to know who my supervisor is. You can find out. We have a link on a survey for you to do that, but you don't have to.
Yeah, so I do see that there's a, what social justice grade would you give the entire county board of supervisors, all 5 of them together as a whole, right?
Yep.
And then you have the ability for folks to grade each of the 5 members on their own, A through F per member. And then this is what I thought was interesting, which I think is what you're speaking to as well. What grade would you give Sacramento County on addressing these issues in a socially just way? And then you provide people, like, what do you think about their take on criminal justice reform, education equity, housing accessibility, and affordability? And so this is a very, depending on who you are and where you are and how engaged you are in the political process, because a lot of us just can't be, right? You meet people where they're at, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think every time it's always, that's the thing that's in our train of thought is like, okay, because if we're also like really doing well, then people will want to even get more involved and learn more. But if you start off at that place and you're not there, then you automatically are like just pushing people away, right? And so but I love, and I want to give Asha a shout out, Asha
Yes.
Kraling. She's the one part of our council who really like did the grading rubric and all that stuff. And I will say this survey, it's getting translated as we speak into, what is it, like 6 other languages, Andi?
I think it's 6, yeah.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Because we don't want to be like the county, when they did the ARPA stuff, only in English, didn't even ask for like zip code or anything. I mean, we don't have $9 billion, but we still were like, hey, we can see if we can spare a little change to get things translated. And so these will be translated. And what we're doing now is we are literally reaching out to different groups, different organizations to present, to ask folks to take the survey. And again, it's targeted, trying to reach out to folks who don't normally get asked. And so that's where like Andy's been tabling at different events, reaching out to some of my contacts. And so actually, I'll put a shout out. If you are part of an organization that feels like, again, like my friend, she works for a housing community. She was just like, yeah, we can definitely talk to our residents about this, and you can come, we will give a presentation on the survey so that way folks feel informed enough to take it. So invite us. We're collecting responses till mid-October. So yeah, and then it doesn't stop there. After we've collected the responses, right? Then we're actually tabulating it, making it all pretty, but then we're actually canvassing. We're hiring canvassers to actually go out in the community and share this the survey results, so people know like, hey, here's what the grade was, and elected officials know like people took the survey and we shared the results as well.
Love it.
And sorry, real quick, one cool thing about the issue area grades is that they correspond to the tags on our website. So if you click on the blog and then click on that issue area, you can read everything we've written about that specific topic.
Oh, phenomenal.
So, yeah, so that's cool for like background information.
They can build their own opinion based off what community members have seen and how your Politicorps members are having this conversation.
Exactly.
I have one small quibble with this. I'm going through, I'm making my grades. I'm trying to grade Councilmember Sean Laloe of District 2 in Sacramento. And I see that it only goes A through F. And I would like to give him a G for Granite Bay, where he definitely lives.
Oh my goodness.
My one little quibble.
We initially had it like A+ through F-, I think, and we were like, that seems like too much.
Well,
It's so close
like, why
to
is there
G.
no E? Why is there no E? A, B, C, D, E, F. I was like, wait
Can
a
I
minute.
just
There's
say,
no E.
growing up, we didn't have Fs. So our grading scale went A through E. And I still don't understand why you do A, B, C, D, F. Why would you
fail? You failed. You
Yeah,
failed.
the fail.
But what does A stand for? What does
Awesome.
B stand for?
Awesome.
What does C stand for?
Right. You know what? You're right.
What does D stand for? Like, why all of a sudden we get to
D
F and
stands
we're
for
like,
don't.
we
Yeah.
have to do something here. It was really strange. So growing up, we would talk about getting an E on things, and everybody was like, what are you talking about if you didn't live in Pittsburgh?
Right.
But A through E was like how we did our grading scale, because we apparently understood the alphabet better than everybody else. So I'm just gonna point that out.
Pittsburgh pushing the
Okay.
needle.
Pittsburgh,
Seriously.
PA, woo woo.
But yes, grade. And there's a point for comment. So please make comments like at the end. If you want to like share, like Dave said, I really wanted to give him a G because he lives in Granite Bay. He don't even live here. He shouldn't even be on here. Do that, because all of those things will get compiled and shared in a really fun SJPC way. So, don't hold back.
I love it. Kula and Andi, I don't know if you're allowed to make any opinions on any of these electeds here, since you're the ones, providing the test. But maybe I can get Flo in a little trouble here. Flo, let's rapid fire the county supervisors. Will you do it?
Sure.
All right. District 1, Phil Cerna.
I'm gonna give Phil a B.
District 2, Patrick Kennedy.
Patrick is right between a B and a C for me right now.
The toughie.
Yeah. Yeah. And Phil honestly could be B or C, just depending on what issue it is.
You gonna be mad.
Yeah, I was gonna say only because there are some issues that I do feel like he should really be pushing on that he doesn't always, and that's why I'm saying, like, for both of them, I feel like they could be a lot stronger on things if they wanted to, and so that's why to me it's like somewhere between B and C.
And see, that's a great commentary where, again, somebody who felt that way could actually also write that in the comments so we can say, hey, yeah, this is actually why this grade was given.
That's, I tend to agree with this. It's funny because they're the cream of the crop of a very lousy crop. And so like that's sort of, I totally get the logic of this. So let's do District 3, Rich Desmond.
Rich is new.
You're so nice.
No, well, see, the thing about Rich is that he doesn't have as much of a track record yet. So it's hard to grade him on things because like he wasn't here for the whole debacle last year with the COVID relief dollars and things like that. Which is another reason why I say Phil and Patrick are between a B and a C, because everybody deserves an F for how they treated the CARES dollars. Let's just be very clear here. Like, y'all all get an F.
Not an E? What about an E or
well,
an F?
I mean, your scale doesn't include E's. So
just saying.
But
they all get a G for it all went to the Golden One Center.
Right.
Yeah, so,
that part.
Also that. So I'm gonna say I'm gonna put him in the same range right now in terms of like his votes haven't been as bad as I was worried about.
True.
So he's in the BC range for me right now as well, and it remains to be seen where he'll fall moving forward.
Facts.
Okay. Okay. Now everyone's fan favorite, Sue Frost, District 4.
Sue Frost gets N for no, I can't believe you're a nurse, because the fact that she, like, every time you think to yourself, wow, I'm really disappointed in Sacramento City Council, Sue Frost is like, hold my beer, let
over
me
here,
double down over here to show you how the supervisors can make it worse. Sue Frost is anti-science. She doesn't make sense most of the time. And she really, for me, gets an F because she is the lone vote against the declaring racism a public health crisis in Sac County. And she really was like,
and she dug in on that.
I don't understand why this is necessary. She dug in on, I don't understand why we have to wear these masks and follow these COVID protocols. Right. She is a whole
but Flo, she loves her Asian American.
Yeah.
Oh,
so that
good great too.
That was so terrible. I cannot believe that. I mean, I don't know why I keep not believing it, but yeah.
Did you see her Martin Luther King Day post? Because she definitely thanked the good blacks of yesteryear for being quality Negroes.
Docile.
Because she's never read a book or watched like freaking Eyes on the Prize, right? So she thanked the good Negroes of yesteryear for not being the terrible, trifling bugaboos that those of us today are. And she posted this on Martin Luther King Day. So Sue Frost can kick rocks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so a total F.
She outdoes herself repeatedly.
Yes.
She says, hold my beer to her colleagues, then runs around to the other side of herself and is like, hold my Regeneron.
Yes. No, seriously, like, you know how people say you shouldn't be in competition with anybody else except yourself?
She's in competition with herself. She took that. Like, she went to Orange Theory and was like, I'm about to be in the orange and the red.
The whole time.
All the time.
The whole time. How can I be as problematic as possible?
Yeah, she always knows she can be worse than she was last time.
This is true.
And then
finally, our guy, Don Natoli, District 5.
Yeah, Don Natoli, I go back and forth about him because he's in that BC range too. But see, the difference is he's a different BC than Phil and Pat, because on one hand, he'll ask really pointed questions and get to the heart of the matter in a way that Patrick and Phil don't.
Yes.
But then there are also times where he will equivocate on stuff where it's like, but Don, if you asked all the right questions and you clearly heard the BS that came back as an answer, how do you not follow through? So, he's the person who's in the perfect position, to use a sports analogy, to make the alley-oop and just misses it. Like it's all set up perfectly, but he just can't make it happen. And Dawn.
You just gave everybody a B. Well,
This was
they're between a B and a C for me, which is like, you're not on honor roll. Like you, like
nobody got through on the week.
You're not getting cum laude. Like you're not like you be lucky.
You lucky if you walk. Don't get your down yet. Don't pay for that.
You're lucky if you get to take 201 after taking 101, because you are right on the cusp with some of those C's. And there are a couple of times where you need to repeat the class.
Dawn is definitely a hard C for me. He's like the kid on your, when you look at your student roster like 3 months into class and you're like, do I know who this kid is?
Yeah.
Like, what do they look like? That's Dawn.
I have to separate
that's
because
why I
like
said-
him as a person. Like Don, like I've talked on the phone with him and that's the thing about like, like
I know I'm totally stepping on. Yeah.
No, it's just like we talk on the phone. He's like good guy, and then you just like, okay, I got to separate from awesome, but it's the policy, Yeah. So.
Well, that's the thing though, because one of the reasons why we've been really impressed, I think, in city council with some of the conversations that we've been able to have, even if the votes haven't come through yet on city council with Katie being there, is council member Katie Valenzuela, is because the conversation changes. And so that's why I said he's a BC for different reasons for me, because some of the questions he asked from the dais are questions that Patrick and Phil aren't going to ask, and that and that I can't expect districts 3 and 4 to even ever come up with, no matter who was there. So he's driving the conversation in ways that I think are important, and that sometimes give insight into the public comments that SJPC is rallying up, and like the ways to do things. So there is a value in that conversation happening publicly, and he does that, I think, at a B level, sometimes even an A level, that his colleagues don't. But the flip side is I can't always count him to vote on things. And so that's why I said, like, I'm stuck in between those grades, because I'm really disappointed overall in like the fact that these folks are still giving the majority of their budget to the sheriff and haven't made moves on things. But also Decarcerate has gotten some really great wins in against the jail expansion and against some of the things that I know that the county wanted to do. And I know that they paid good money to some subcontractor to be able to come up with all of these, proposals for, and they didn't happen. And so I'm also trying to give credit for like the things that should not have happened and also didn't happen because of votes that were cast. And so that's a really challenging place to be.
He had a big part in that, working with Decarcerate, I believe. So
it's a really challenging place to be. And so I will be more than happy to give them F minuses on the things that they are really just like CARES Act, F minus for everybody. There's no extra credit for coming back and even trying to halfway get it right later. Like you just completely screwed that up. But there are some other things that I do want to give the folks who actually are responsible for it credit for doing. And again, that's where Richard Desmond comes in, where like I thought he was going to just come in and be Sue Frost's buddy.
I did too.
It hasn't been, and that's actually, I'm pleasantly surprised. So he's probably in that BC range for lack of just like a track record, and also because I'm pleasantly surprised. I was expecting to give him a DF, and so I'm like, oh, you haven't completely.
There's a lot of expectations here. It's like, Phil has a high. You're like, I expect more from you than you at BC, right? Rich Desmond, you're like, you know what? I thought you was here, but you okay? Okay, so you were BC. So basically, everybody is just being mediocre.
Everybody not named Sue.
Everybody meets in the middle, and then there's Sue Frost, who just but Sue Frost is also anchoring so low that everybody else looks good by comparison.
Yes. Right. Well, let's do city council though.
I mean, here's my worry, Kula. And you can override me if you want, but Flo is too deeply respected, and I'm worried that like every listener is going to give.
True. You know what? You're right. You're right.
Yeah. And let me tell you, listeners, Flo's wrong all the time. I've been friends with her for a long time. All the time. Always wrong. So you don't, even though those were very, very nuanced answers, you don't have to vote like Flo. You can give your own grades.
You can give Fs where I gave Cs.
Right.
Welcome to it.
And you've got the material to help you with that. Absolutely so. Just go back and read some stuff. See, we got side eyes that we give people. You can read those too and see why they got the side eye, So absolutely, but no, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't want that to be. I don't want to be biased, I'm really looking forward to the city council votes because I like grades because I think I feel like those are going to be all over the place. Actually, I really think though they're going to be all over the place. And then because if you think about, because I'll say like for some people who people are going to be like, wait, Rick Jennings is here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like people just, you know, probably forget, like, on the council. Okay, what grade do I give him?
He's kind of gone quiet in the last this most recent session.
No, he's quiet. I haven't seen him do a lot. So anyways, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing all the results. And we just, yeah, to share with folks. This is going to be I'm really excited because this is the first. I've never seen anything like this, like a social justice report card in Sacramento. And so I'm really want this to be a thing, right? Where we do it every year and we get it out there to people and we're going door to door and like dropping it off, literally like, here you go. This is our, you know, we're canvassing, here's a report card. And then watch out for it again next year and go from there. So yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to see how it comes out. Can I ask how much time people have to fill out the survey?
Folks have until about early October to fill out the survey. Okay. So you've got like a little less than a month to fill out the survey. So please, and again, if there's a group that you think, you know, folks that should take this survey, feel free to reach out to us. We will come and walk through it with folks and answer questions because we want you to take the survey and feel like you're knowledgeable before you take the survey.
Great. Love it.
Yeah. Or if you, sorry.
Go.
Oh, if you know of events that we could like just community events that would be good for us to be at, or if you just know people in general, just send it out to them. Like, as we're trying to get like 1,000 responses if we can, that's our goal. So if you know anyone who can take it, send it out.
Right.
Cool. And the site again is socialjusticesac.org/report card. Otherwise, you can just go to socialjusticesac.org. You'll find report card up in the top right, and you can click on that, and then you can find the link to the report card and fill that out. It's cool work. It's exciting. Kula, I thought we'd have more time to talk about other things, but we're already pushing it. But is there anything else you want to add? We've got like 4 or 5 minutes before I got to roll this out.
Okay. No, I think I just want to, the key thing I guess I talk about again, it's an infrastructure, right? Like things can't happen if there's not like a structure in place for it, right? We currently have a structure in place. It's a white supremacy structure, and that's really screwing us over. Right. So we want to build a different structure of social justice, where our politics are viewed in that lens, right, where people are involved. And that's what this is all about. And so, yeah, I just want folks to join the core, right? And SJPC is just one thing. I know we don't have much time to talk about it, but we have a political action committee where we're raising money for folks who are running for office who are socially minded, right? Social justice minded. And so that's also important. Again, that's all part of that infrastructure as well. So, you know, yes. Oh, my earrings are hitting my mic. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
This is what happens. You know,
fashion.
You know, I love me some big earrings, you know, so that's where like, hey.
I was trying to be quiet. I wanted to just send a message.
Oh, it's all good. You
Okay.
know, I know. But anyways, but no, so again, it's just, if you didn't hear infrastructure, that's what we're doing here, because we need a structure to tear down the structure of white supremacy that already exists. So
Absolutely.
That's it.
And I would say just like, we want to hear from you. Like, we want to know what you're thinking. We want to get your feedback on meetings. We want to hear your public comments. So if you want to be part of SJPC, sign up on our website and get our newsletter, or just like, if you want to be part of the council, like you can do that too. We want to get more people involved all the time.
Right. Many hands, light work.
Many hands, light work.
Mhm.
And you know, you are your org is one of a number of orgs that are sort of pushing in a similar direction. You know, a lot of the unhoused advocacy folks are doing some really phenomenal work right alongside you. You mentioned Incarcerate SAC, you know, a bunch
The Housing
of groups.
Alliance is part of
Housing Alliance, SAC Soup, let's see. Sunrise, right. DSA is doing some stuff like, and everyone pushing in the same direction and having solidarity. I think there's something to be said about that. Obviously, a greater left has to be leaderless in many ways. And I think folks are figuring it out. And your work in particular is really exciting to me because it empowers people to get engaged with the politics of what's going on locally. And you can make a difference. Any single person can make a difference locally. And you're showing them the path and the way to do that. So thank you, Kula and Andi, for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Of course, just incredible people. I'm sure you'll be around. You know, there's. Let's see what happens after the report card comes out.
That's right. I will. You know what? We'll have a date saying that we'll be back after the report card comes out, so we can talk about the results and all that good stuff. So
I'm excited, and I'm excited for some really great commentary from people on this. And so yeah, we're looking forward to that. Flo, do you want to give me like a seg?
You want me to seg you in? I never get to do this part.
I totally realized I was just going to start it, and then I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
Okay, let's see. I got to come up with a good segue. Right. So speaking of things that may earn a really high grade, where might I be able to find quality content that will help me be able to stay in the know in Sacramento?
You know, that's a fantastic question, Flo, and I'm really glad you asked me that apropos of nothing. There is one place here in Sacramento and out there in the ether of the internet called voicesrivercity.com. It's been dishing out the perfect take since 2017, started out with news and arts coverage and then community voices essays. Much more less of that today. We are currently in our current iteration, current form, focusing on the podcast, bringing people on who are speaking truth to power, who are pushing things towards the social justice minded direction, the leftist direction, and the anti-capitalist direction, right? You can sign up and subscribe to our show anywhere that a podcast platform can be found. We are Voices River City. We're on Facebook, Voices River City, Twitter and Instagram at Voices River City. You can become a patron for as little as $5 a month or as much as $25 a month. You can support us and all the work that we're doing. And we're trying to grow this into something cool and big and really, you know, just the same that all of our you know, brother and sister groups are doing is help build the movement, right? So patreon.com/voicesrivercity, that will get you a Friday episode alongside our free Tuesday episodes. The $25 a month folks, you are amazing people. I don't know if I'm allowed to divulge. I won't. But but our YouTube viewers might have an idea. They you know, they're really helping us move this thing forward, and hey, you get a t-shirt and a mug out of it, right? So cool. I hope you got your t-shirt and mug, otherwise I'm going to feel terrible.
I did. I got my t-shirt and mug, and I was debating whether to run up and go to the kitchen and bring my mug and hold it up, but I was just like, I don't have enough time for that. So
yeah. I just, like, in my mind I was like, oh my god, did we get it to her? Okay.
Yes, you did. I appreciate you.
I'm not the best at admin work.
You know why? Because we have good customer service, even if Orange Theory doesn't.
That's right. That's right. Thank you.
That's the callback. That's what we needed right there. Even if you're not a $25 a month person, you can go to our store, voicesrivercity.com/shop, and buy a mug, buy a sticker, buy a t-shirt. Maybe someday we'll get other things, but we're just not there quite yet, you know? Oh, look at that sticker.
Yeah.
I love it, Andi. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Once more, thanks to you two for coming on and sharing with us
Thank
all
you
the
so
cool work
much.
you're
Yes,
doing.
thanks for having us.
You.
Yes, and I can't wait to see the results. And I guess that's it. Anybody have anything else? Oh, I guess you can find me on the socials. I am on Twitter at Kempa, YUKNOWKEMPA.
And I am on social. I'm not used to being second, so this
I know.
is just weird for me. I'm pausing and waiting for other people to go, and then I'm like, all right, it's my turn. You can find me at Flojaune, FLOJAUNE.
I'm at Kula Koenig, I think.
I think mine's just Andy Bianchi.
How do you spell it? Your handles. You gotta do the full
Oh,
spelling.
right.
I'm at KULA KOENIG.
ANDIBIANCHI.
All
And
right.
how do we find SJPC online?
Once more.
SocialJusticeSac.org.
Or
And at
on
Social Justice Sac
Oh,
on
well,
Instagram
yeah,
and
that's
Twitter.
Awesome.
Sorry.
Andy got it. Clearly,
You're a great team, really.
Yes. Teamwork makes the dream work.
right at Social Justice Sac.
All right, let's call it. We will see everybody next episode. And if whatever, today is the last day to vote for Gavin Newsom. So vote no on the recall if that's your thing. Just whatever you do, don't vote yes.
Right. All right. Bye.
Bye, everyone.